Good evening, everyone. It's my first time here at Block&Wine, so thanks for the invitation. I'm actually based here in Vienna full-time, so happy to meet everyone later and go for a coffee or a drink another point as well. So I understand this is kind of pretty informal, pretty chill sort of meetup, so I'm not going to pitch you anything like that. I'm just going to tell you about my project and hopefully give you a little bit of insight into the loyalty reward space. This is a space that's kind of large right now. It's $180 billion of loyalty rewards out there at any given time. So if you want to know what the future of that is, hopefully I'll give you a little insight now and afterwards over drinks. So we're building the ME protocol, and it's addressing loyalty rewards. So everyone understands here what loyalty rewards are. So these are like airline miles, hotel points, Gucci rewards, your local pizzeria discounts, anything that a company is giving you to reward you for being a customer. Now, the purpose of loyalty rewards, for those of you not in this industry, are generally to retain customers. Why do we want to retain customers? Anybody know? Why would we retain customers? Why is that good? Sell more product? Anybody have any other ideas? Why do you retain customers? Why is it important? You make money, that's great. Cash is always good. Any other ideas out there? Yeah. Well, the real reason is that, of course, you want to do another sale and you want to make money, but it's much more cost-effective to engage with existing customers than it is to acquire new customers. So it's a CAC issue. So in fact, it's between 40 and 80% more expensive to acquire a new customer than it is to retain an existing one. So that's why 90% of US companies, for example, that are consumer-facing, have a loyalty rewards program. I don't know how it is in Austria. I mean, I have a little it's a bit different from each and other country, but quite important in many Western countries. So one of the issues that sort of people have with loyalty programs is they really forget about the points that they have, or they don't use the rewards that they've been given. And this is kind of a problem. So only about 50%, even less than 50% of rewards are actually used. So that's pretty important, like I was mentioning before, when you consider the value that's been left on the table. So once again, why are loyalty rewards important? To retain customers, so you can deal with the CAC issue, but also because customers who don't actually use their rewards, they don't use their airline miles, for example, are 3 times more likely to defect from that brand. So it's kind of important that you get people using the rewards that you're given, right? You don't want them just sitting there because your customers are going to defect, and it becomes much more expensive for you. So how do we get this money back off the table? So our proposition that, well, what if we could take airline miles or any other unused points and buy a coffee with those? Would that be cool for you guys? Or buy a beer, a glass of wine, a pizza? Would you like to do that? Yeah? Yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe we can fund this whole event next time based upon loyalty rewards. So this is exactly kind of what we want to do. So in essence, that's our project. We want to make it so that whatever rewards you're given by any type of brand, you can go and exchange that for things that you can actually want right now. So would you use them then, if you could do that? Would you use the rewards? I would. Well, that's exactly what Singapore Airlines did back in 2018. So Singapore Airlines had this exact same idea. It's not a new idea. And they said, okay, how do we compete as a regional airline? How do we do that? How do we create a loyalty program that allows us to compete? Well, people that are using Singapore Airlines generally go to Singapore, right? Or they transit. So they said, okay, well, why don't we allow our miles to be used on bubble tea or coffee or whatever in Singapore? So they went about creating what's called a multi-vendor loyalty program out of 1,000 different vendors in Singapore. And they decided, well, how do we actually make that practical from an operations perspective? Well, they decided, we need to move all our miles onto the blockchain. And we need to help all of these vendors also integrate with our blockchain and allow us to do this exchange of loyalty rewards. So the consumer, this is their app, A consumer has no fucking idea what's happening. They just know that they've been given some miles by Singapore Airlines, and all of a sudden they can go out and buy bubble tea with that. They think that's pretty cool. So that's what we're trying to do, actually, on a larger scale. So we're actually trying to decentralize this large multi-vendor program and do it on a much larger scale than Singapore Airlines is doing it. We don't want one company controlling that. We want all brands to be able to participate. Also, Singapore Airlines spent a lot of money trying to put this together. So we need to develop a platform that makes it really easy for brands, really frictionless for brands to actually do this on any sort of scale. So that's what we're doing. We're taking Singapore Airlines and we're doing this in a decentralized and a much larger scale. So we have an app, because it's one thing to kind of, those of you guys who are in the tokenization space, you kind of know this. Like, tokenizing something doesn't mean that it has any sort of liquidity. It doesn't mean that it actually can be exchanged or that anyone gives a shit about what you just tokenized, right? So what we needed to do here was create a way in which brands can tell you exactly how you can spend those 1,000 airline miles that are just sitting in your account. So we have to create a marketplace. We're creating something that's called like a reverse marketplace. So you always know exactly what you can spend it on. So for the brands itself, we're really tackling that issue that I just spoke about here. We're creating liquidity. So if you just release a loyalty rewards token, for example, there's no liquidity there. And it's very difficult to set a valuation for that token. So we've developed our own valuation methodology, our own algorithm for how we can establish an initial valuation of this token, and then we create liquidity for that token so that it can be exchanged. And it's really important in the context of exchanging loyalty rewards because we allow these things to be exchanged without there having to be another peer on the other side. So it would be really cool, for example, if I had my pizza tokens and you had your airline tokens, and then we could just kind of trade with each other. But the reality is, we're not going to always find a match. We can always go to a decentralized exchange and find someone that's willing to trade with us. So we created a protocol that allows us to do that without having to have a direct peer on the other side. So why we needed to create a protocol in the process? Well, everyone here is kind of in this space, so when you have exchanging one token for another, when they're on different blockchains and things, it's kind of difficult. So we needed a protocol to do that. And we needed one very specialized for this type of token swap. And we do cool things within the protocol, like build in an automated bounty program to help brands promote their loyalty programs within protocol. So we're developing our own token as well. It's going to be used as a medium of exchange. So establishing the valuation of the token, having it being exchanged against ours. You're not going to probably, it may be listed on an exchange, but no one's going to really know that this token's kind of existing outside of the brands themselves. So it's just utility token. Also, very cool, we wanted to create a frictionless process for brands so they can actually exchange their tokens for ours and pay us in our token. Now, it sounds kind of weird, but it's a way in which they can onboard and we can create liquidity with their tokens and just really get this kind of ecosystem of brand tokens going. And then, obviously, governance of our DAO. I promised to do like a little education. I'm trying to do that with this presentation. One of the first things we did was kind of map out the space. So if you want to know different segments of consumer-facing companies that are active either in tokenizing their loyalty rewards or like experimenting, you can see a subsection of that to the right side. So everything from Disney, to Coca-Cola, to restaurants, to Adidas. Most people are experimenting right now with non-fungible tokens, so NFTs, simply because it's quite easy to experiment with that. Pretty easy to mint those, and do it with, like, for example, product releases. We got a new cool pair of shoes, we'll do an NFT, and we can build interest around a product release. So the true, like, sort of fungible token, so that would exchange, would where you could transfer, for example, your airline miles into airline tokens, for example. There's some of this going on right now. It's not as pervasive as NFT, but we're building all of this for what's coming over the next 12 to 36 months. Yeah, if you have any questions about this, I'll happy to answer in the space. There's lots of different companies as well that are helping brands. Some of them are trying to create their own sort of loyalty coins, or they're calling loyalty coins, just loyalty tokens, like Flycoin, for example, out of the US. They just raised $33 million pre-launch this year, and they're essentially creating an airline miles token. And they're starting off with some regional airlines, sort of a simple, sorry? That's consulting work on that. So there's lots of the actually consulting. I didn't even know, for example, Salesforce is working on this. I had no idea why, but I just heard from someone who is working on that program that they're involved with this. So like Adidas, for example, they're mainly into NFTs, but they started with a small team, but now they have like 150 people working on it. So it's something that brands are investing in, and we need to pay attention to. Yeah, it's not a pitch, so I'm not going to tell you why we're better or whatever, just to give you an idea. We love these multi-use tokens. So this Flycoin that's creating this for airlines to transfer their miles, we like that. There's another company, Travelaa, that's doing this for another part of the travel industry. We love these, so if you see any of these, let me know. I don't want to take too much of your time, but we're kind of dispersed and remote. I'm in Vienna, but my co-founder is in Nigeria. He founded the blockchain program at the Pan-Atlantic University there. We have some investors and incubators. We have some interesting advisors here that are helping us out. And we're also recruiting. So anybody here interested in this space, we're recruiting for a variety of roles, everything from partnerships management to blockchain engineers, to community managers. So get in touch if you're interested. And I told you I'd be brief, so thank you.
Thank you. How is Disney benefiting in the entertainment industry from NFTs?
One more time.
Disney, you put Disney on your list. I was just wondering how they...
NFTs, that's what they're working on.
Okay, like in the show sector or movie industry, or like where's the use case for that in the entertainment industry?
I just read the press release that they're developing this.
Oh, okay.
I don't know exactly. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
Companies that provide the royalty rewards.
So if they've already, they can onboard with us without having a tokenized program. So just having normal points.
But they need to say yes to that. It's not that you can just use their stuff to trade.
We can sync your points within our platform. But of course, we encourage them, there's an on-ramp for tokenization. So we're using tokenization partners. So we're developing partners and we're open to anyone who is interested to help us. So we're looking for tokenization partners to help the brands develop the tokens. Also loyalty management as well. So they're already using loyalty management providers, so we're integrating with them. So once they have a token and we can access that, or it's freely exchangeable, then the onboarding process is pretty simple with them.
Oh, okay, good, thanks.
What they have to do is they have to maintain offers in the marketplace. So that's the key. So from the offers that are in the marketplace, let's say 100 tokens for a cheeseburger. They have to maintain these offers. Otherwise, we can't we can't establish a valuation for their token for exchange. So that's one of the sort of part of the secret sauce is how we do this token valuation. So a lot of it is based on the offers that we have in the marketplace.
Yep. I have a question. Where would you see your project on this map?
I guess we're here as a service provider. We're actually more like probably like a platform provider that will go in like a new box here. So this is kind of like a competitor for us, direct competitor. Digital Bits a little bit. They kind of have their own blockchain. A little bit for these kind of brand assets. But most of these are people that we want to do integrations with, companies we want to do integrations with. So we really want to be like almost kind of so part of it's kind of being this middleware to make this whole exchange of brand tokens or loyalty tokens actually work in practice and not something we say, oh, theoretically it would be awesome, but in practice it doesn't work.
Clients?
Yeah, it exists. Yeah, and we have investors.
Your clients, or like, as I understood, it's only from press release guys?
Sorry? No, we right now we're in the process of forming our partnerships. So we're developing partnerships with these guys, some of these guys here.
So it's you have inquiries with these guys, or it's just examples?
So we're still building the protocol right now. So we haven't launched that. Yeah. Thanks.
Do you have like a test pilot with a company, a partnering company, where you have some research about customer behavior and stuff?
That's upcoming.
So I just have a question about the incentives. If I'm, for example, Coca-Cola and I give my clients points for buying my product, would I want them to go and be able to exchange that for Pepsi points, for example?
Okay, so this is the very common question that we get in the loyalty space. So from the very beginning, remember, why do brands do loyalty? Retention. What the tokenization process enables is for you, for the same cost base, same expense base, you to do retention and new customer acquisition at the same time. Because what happens is people, if you look at customer behavior, if you look at the data, people want to be rewarded instantly, immediately. They don't want to have to accumulate 9,000 miles before they can fly to Frankfurt. So what allowing this transferability through tokens does, it allows you to reward that customer immediately. Because if they've already filled up on all the Pepsi they can possibly purchase, then they have no use for your token anymore. So they need to exchange it with someone, or they need to trade it out. They get another reward. It doesn't mean you're going to lose them as a customer. In fact, they're going to be really happy because they were able to buy something else or get an offer on something else with that. What the protocol actually does, and without getting like too tactical about it, what we do is we monitor the in and out flows of the tokens themselves. So if you're Pepsi and you have lots of outflows going on, but you don't have any inflows of people trying to access your token or trying to acquire your token, then there's some issue there. And so we can do things with the valuation of that token to try to encourage people to actually redeem with you, to attract new customers. And then part of that transfer, what we do is we put it in, I can't talk too much about it, but right, we put it in a special place, and we use that to create bounties for the brand. So we create bounties. We have a special program that we're going to be launching soon, where people are actually rewarded for promoting Pepsi once people go outside and buy Coca-Cola from Pepsi. So it's really important for the brands to understand that you're not losing customers, you're gaining customers in the process of retaining the ones you already have.
Yeah, I have a question. Does each partner has their own token then?
Yeah, so we're not providing our own token. We have one, but that's for a utility purpose.
Again, how to join the platform then as a business? Do I need to install some hardware on anywhere?
No. So integration partners that can handle the management of a loyalty program if you don't already have a loyalty management program internal to the company. And then the management of the actual tokens itself is up to the company. So it depends. Some of them are managing this very closely themselves. Others that are newcomers, we can help out a little bit with how to manage that. We also provide the analytics for the brands themselves so they understand the performance of their token.
I have more specific question. For example, again, Coca-Cola, they sell products in Eurozone or Norwegian zone, and they need to establish some contract or connection, depend of country or depend of company.
Are you talking about the contractual relationship between Coca-Cola and us?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what, it depends on their entity. I don't know Coca-Cola, how they're structured. I know they don't bottle it. They just provide the formula. No, but the normal case would be whatever the legal entity that the brand wants to use would enter into a contract with us. And it looks kind of like a SaaS kind of onboarding program. So you enter the details of the tokens, you set up the wallets, and then the onboarding starts with an offer. So Coca-Cola has to make an offer in the marketplace, so then we can establish a value if it's not already exchanged.
I have an interesting point. I watched some time ago an information about this loyalty rewards of airlines, and actually there was some filings that at some point the loyalty programs of some airlines were more valuable than the actual airlines themselves. Which, if you think about it, they're basically doing banking because they sell their points to other companies and they sell them at full value. So, of course, the cost for an airline ticket is not the same that it's sold for. How are you approaching this sector? Because I think you could create more value by connecting these systems and, well, to be honest, basically facilitate those companies to even more be banks that are not regulated at all.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big issue, right? But you're right, like Marriott or Hilton, they have their rewards program, especially Hilton. They say it's more valuable than the brand itself or something like that. In reality, what the hell does that mean? What it means is that the loyalty rewards is creating enough retention value that in terms of the ratio between the retention and the new customer acquisition cost, it's somehow, I don't know, advantageous for them. But in terms of it doesn't mean anything, really. But loyalty rewards is very uneven. So you have some programs that are really working well like that, and you have others that are just not working that well. So we don't approach the brands by saying yours is not working well. We just say we can help you capture more value out of the program that you already have. But yeah, what we're trying to do is create a whole sort of ecosystem and economy around the exchange of these.
Well, exactly kicking on that on. Value and loyalty programs are totally uneven. How do you settle if these tokens should be integrated between, since there are no secondary markets for each and every token existing? How do you generate this value and that settlement price?
Yeah, so during the onboarding process, we establish initial valuation for their token, if it's a fungible token, vis-a-vis our token, our me token. And there's a way to monitor the valuation of that exchange, but the brand itself will do an exchange with us. So they'll exchange our tokens for theirs, and we'll use part of their tokens to create liquidity, to create a liquidity pool for them. That's how we do it. And we can adjust the exchange rate over time based upon the in and out flows from their wallets. So like the gentleman over here was mentioning, so what if all my customers are just exchanging my token? What happens? The protocol itself self-adjusts for that.
So if I understood it right, it's a closed ecosystem, but do you intend on making it possible to exchange money, so euros or dollars, for one of your tokens? So more or less it's a international currency.
Yeah, there will be a fiat on-ramp, but we're not creating a currency out of our token. Does that answer your question?
Yes, if you intend on making it possible that one exchanges 100 euro to 1,000 tokens or something like this.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's cool. Thanks.
Cool. Thanks for the engagement.
Yeah. Maybe one last shooter question, because you had the Blockchain Founders Group on there. That sounded interesting. So it's a new blockchain accelerator now based in Liechtenstein, correct?
I think they're mainly out of Frankfurt.
Mainly out of Frankfurt.
Yeah, so they've invested in us.
Okay. How can you get in touch with them, and what do they do?
I'm happy to connect anybody.
Okay, that's good.
There's like several different, I think, legal entities there. But one of them is kind of this early stage acceleration, incubation arm. And that's the one that invested in us.
A big applause. Thanks, Robert.